This one thing I would say around 90% of golfers across the globe don't do is costing them distance, accuracy, but most importantly with the driver, consistency. And just by making this one move at setup, you will finally hit your driver longer and straighter. So in this video, I'm going to show you the difference, how this is the case and how you can apply this to your own golf game. So we all know the ball position needs to be further in the front of the stance. I don't like to see any of this excessive tilt because that can affect the attack angle a little bit too much and hitting too far upwards on the golf ball. So I like to stay fairly neutral with my setup, with my shoulders, feet, knees, hips as well. But one thing in particular, what we don't necessarily notice that amateur golfers do is they have their feet very much so in this internally rotated position. Now, if I was to make a driver swing, and we know with the driver, one of the most important things is to apply a much bigger turn with the club being much longer and heavier, and then bigger turn on the way through. So if we have our feet, what we call internally rotated, with the feet move inwards like this here on this front camera angle, well, when I make my turn back, it becomes very difficult for me to finish off that golf swing. Let me just exaggerate it here just to show you. I can really feel it as I make my way just past the halfway point. My foot and my knee are starting to strain. So from here, we're going to want to bend our arms because we can't necessarily rotate more so. And then that's going to cause us to try and get this extra lever, and then inconsistency is going to take place from there, casting outwards to recover from this, and then those poor drives. Whereas if we actually have them ever so slightly more externally rotated, it's going to be much easier to do. So I'm going to show you that in just a sec. But same on the way through. Internally rotated, this lead foot in particular now. On the way through, it makes it very difficult for me to finish off my golf swing. So I'm either going to have to jump my foot out of the way. If I do that before just making contact with the golf ball, that's going to affect the strike. But even if I do this afterwards, or I get stuck, it's going to be very difficult to control that finish. Now with a driver, all the tour pros stay in control. Although they're able to generate these huge swings, these huge, powerful, effortless golf swings, they're always stable. They're always able to control this movement. So how can we control this movement? Well, what the tour professionals do so well, and this is especially with the lead foot, but they do. Some of them do this with the trail foot as well, and I'm one for doing it with both, but more so with the lead foot here. So as I make my way into setup here, what we notice is a big difference between where my feet were before, very much so internally rotated, and now being what we call externally rotated. So external rotation with the feet is where the feet flare outwards, so they're going away from the body. So this lead foot in particular, well, as I make my way through to finish now, look how much easier it is for me to turn all the way through and add all the pressure onto this lead side on the way through. This also allows me to really open up my lead hip as I make my way into starting that downswing. Look what happens here. And that's really going to help you with the accuracy and consistency with this. And on the backswing, the trail foot in particular, flaring that a little bit more out, it's much easier now for me to get this wide movement, this wide, powerful backswing rotating all the way up to the very top of the swing. So that is what the pros do. Let's take a look at a few shots now and see the difference with the outcomes then. So I'm going to have my feet just on this one, more internally rotated, hitting a golf shot, and I'm going to go pretty much full speed. I'm not going to go like long drive mode here, but I'm going to go full speed as if I was to play on the golf course. And let me just hit two quick shots now, just fast forwarding these in between, just to see some of the results and some of the data on the screen. Okay, so we're noticing a bit of a consistent pattern. Although the first one I was a little bit lazy, warm-up swing at 113, I've just managed to boost that up to 118. It's quite cold here this morning in the indoor facility. But the carry on that one was 270. Now, I would usually carry it around 290. So just having my feet internally rotated there has a big effect on obviously the swing speed, how much I can turn into the backswing, how much I can turn into the follow-through, and start to transfer that weight from the trail side into that lead side. Taking a look at the number here, face angle on the top left-hand side of the screen, minus 1.5 degrees close. Now usually my miss with driver is the one where I start to push it out to the right a little bit where we'd have an open club face to the driver a little bit. But this one here is showing minus 1.5 degrees in the minus. So that is going to be influencing a closed club face at impact. And we can see there that was ever so slightly out the toe side anyway. But before I show you this next screen recording, I can almost guarantee that, as I explained earlier, when we've got the feet internally rotated and I begin to turn into the downswing, I can't turn my hip anymore after this point. So my arms have to do the rest of the work. And I could feel then that my body stopped a lot sooner and my arms had to do a lot of the work, especially this trail arm, to extend at the golf ball instead. And that's when we get that early release to take place. Going to close the face down and draw too much to the left. Let's have a look at one now with the feet more externally rotated, especially with the lead foot. Much better shot. Felt like I could rotate a lot more on the backswing on that one, and it felt a lot stable going on the way through there into finish. So let's take a look at that one. Obviously a little bit of a draw again. Better flight though, and having a look at the numbers here. Wow. Okay, well there's my normal carry at 293, and it's showing there a club head speed of 120, so only 2 miles an hour more than what we noticed before with the feet pretty much straight on. So that makes a huge difference there, just 2 miles an hour, but I've produced 23.3 more yards. So that makes a massive difference. For every miles an hour, that's equivalent to 2 to 3 yards. So I've gained 14 to 17 yards extra just from making that change. Look what it's also done with the face angle and club path. It's made a huge difference. The face angle is nearly perfectly square. The path as well is nearly perfectly square. Let's have a look at the club delivery. So a little bit out the toe, which would explain why the ball has drawn a lot more than normal, but that drive there was really, really solid. So let's just take a look and compare those two shots now then. So let's have a look at the numbers down below. So we can see here, big difference with the carry distance. Again, 23 yards. We're having a look at the face angle numbers as well. Big difference there in particular. Now let's just take the total. Okay, so you can see the total on the right-hand side of the screen. The before one actually jumped up surprisingly, and I think that's because I made a lower ball flight. So it's going to, as soon as it lands, it's going to roll a bit more, but the total on the left is still significantly higher. Making our way up to the top of the swing. Is there a difference there? Yeah, you can definitely see my knee moving more into this trail side. I'll still be able to keep the width between both of my legs, as we want to be able to do that for power's sake and control. But we can see here that knee is beginning to rotate more towards the right knee in relation to the one on the right. As we make our way into the downswing here, there's a lot of footwork I've got to do on the right hand side of the screen compared to the left. And for me, it's just a bit more stable. It certainly looked, although there's not much of a difference, taking a look at the camera angle here, there definitely was, well, it definitely felt like there was a difference for me when making those swings. It just felt a lot easier for me to rotate, execute the shot more, commit to it, which is one of the most important things to do on the golf course. We don't want to be slowing down, we've got to commit. So straight away we can see the difference there. One of the best tips, pieces of advice, if you're going to remember anything from this video, is that when you set up to the golf ball like this and go through this routine, you've got to commit like I mentioned before. You've got to commit. Otherwise, there's no point. When we've got the feet set up in the right position, that's going to help us rotate, get this back working towards the target on the way up, facing towards the target. On the way through, getting the chest, getting the hips out the way, chest facing towards the target. And that's going to make a big difference. Saw how square my club face and club path were doing this. Just from one shot doing this. Well, that was a straighter ball flight. I certainly felt more in control on that one, and that's still a fairway finder, a very consistent shot. Not a lot of curvature, no deviation on that shot, so accuracy-wise, bang on for me. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the channel, GX Golf. They provide high quality golf clubs for a fraction at the price in comparison to their competitors on the market. Using my discount code Harry10, you can get yourself a great 10% discount off purchasing these gloves. I'd recommend you checking them out. So go ahead, give us a try, comment down below with what you would like to see next, and why not check out this video over here if you're looking for great tips on the driver. You would have noticed there on those drives, the second one in particular that I hit that out the toe. So though my club face is perfectly square, it's really important we get that center strike. So how we do this is all revealed in that top video. There's also another good video for you to watch down below as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.